Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. I would like to just kind of elaborate on a few issues that have been discussed. The first is I share the same concern as the senator from Santa Barbara that not all the provisions in this bill have a nexus to climate change or remotely have a nexus. It was one of my concerns when we voted on cap and trade is that the money could basically be used for anything, and this just exemplifies that point. Also, you know, we have what's called a single subject rule, and I think we're not following that. And then my main concern with this bill is the labor component. And, you know, Elon Musk is quite an entrepreneur. He's built an incredible company that I think has become more successful than even he thought he probably could do. And I've researched his operation a little bit. And the average starting pay at Tesla actually exceeds what Ford, GM, or Fiat Chrysler pays. All their employees are awarded, given to them, shares of the company. As the company does well, he gives them shares and even gives them a discount on the shares if they want to buy them. And because the demand, Madam Chair, for their products have been so strong that they had to have their employees working overtime to the point where the employees were saying, hey, we're not spending enough time with our families, we're exhausted, we need a third shift. Elon Musk put on a third shift, the employees are happy. If you look at their safety record, Elon Musk is involved every week in the safety of their employees, and their injury rate at their facility in Fremont is less than the average of any automobile company in the United States. So you look back in 2010 and they got this 5 million square foot building that was basically sitting there, right? Opened this company, took a chance on California, created thousands of jobs, built a great company, and obviously the incentives, the clean air incentives, played into his investment in the state of California. So now we are, first of all, I sit on the Labor Committee, and I have yet to see one Tesla employee ever come to labor and say, we're just not being treated right, and we're being stifled from our ability to unionize to make our working standards better. In fact, I would even opine, in being here in a short period of time in 3 years, I think we have the strongest employee laws protecting our employees of anywhere else in the union, okay? And yet here, while it's not explicitly said, we are basically saying to Elon Musk, you are going to allow you're going to be required to have your employees unionize, or we are going to take away the incentives that encourage you to come here and build. My friends, I'm concerned about the message we're sending to the business community. We have another billionaire, Jeff Bezos, that is looking for big box sites in the state of California to create yet more jobs. And if we include this provision, I think that we're going to have people take a second look. And you know, these billionaires are shrewd and they're eccentric. And many of them will do what they need to do to remain profitable. We tried courting them for a battery factory, and unfortunately we couldn't get the environmental promises to Mr. Musk. He moved it to Nevada. My concern is that he could very well say, you know what, if you're going to impose these labor conditions on me, then we're going to look elsewhere. And then finally, and this is the question I was going to lead up to, and my good friend and I were talking about this earlier, is that Elon Musk is not the only one that builds a zero emissions car. So we have a labor commissioner that's going to be looking at working standards. How are you going to be looking at working standards of competitors that may be manufacturing outside the United States? Take BMW, for example. How are we going to impose those conditions on entities that aren't even manufacturing in the United States?
I want to back up just a second, Senator Stone, to one of your previous points, which is I would just note process-wise, this is a budget bill junior, and so because of that, single subject doesn't apply. It's like a budget act. We appropriate funds across many different programs, so I just wanted to clarify that. To your last question, as I read the language, it is for all manufacturers. Obviously, some of the discussion here has been about Tesla, but this requirement by the Labor Secretary versus the Commissioner in consultation conversation with ARB, is for any manufacturer who wants to participate in the CVRP program. And, you know, the language isn't specific about what the procedures will be. It simply asks those two entities to develop those procedures. So I don't think I have the specificity to answer your question about international entities.
Thank you. But I would just conclude by what you just said was that if the Labor Commissioner, Labor Secretary discovers through their investigation that BMW doesn't potentially treat their employees well in Germany and their manufacturing facilities, then we could say to them, you're not getting this incentive for any electric cars that are imported into the United States, right?
It requires the Labor Secretary and ARB to certify those labor practices as a condition of participating in the rebate program.
And if they don't agree that those labor practices are fair and efficacious, they could say that there is no $2,500 incentive for any electric cars coming into the United States.
I believe the term is fair and responsible.
Thank you.